Okay, welcome to Chaos and Coffee, where your comments drive the conversation. My name is Justin Brown. I'm your host, and I'm also multitasking in various windows. Today we have with us some of our regulars on the panel, Vertex Draco, Darth Tux, and today a special guest, we have Chris Cruz, a comedian and promoter from Fresno, California. So go ahead, guys, while I post this link in various places.
See, multitasking doesn't exist.
Multitasking does not exist. This is true. It's a urban myth.
Yeah. It's switching tasks.
Very rapidly.
So I got a question for the Dark Tux out here in the Vertex. What do you guys know about the hive mind question and answer things that they got going on in some of those places in the internet? Because it's I'll give you an example. One thing that I looked up right before the election, I want to say maybe like 6 months, or it was I think Bernie was still in the race. This hive mind just got a bunch of different answers from a bunch of different places from the world, and they picked Hillary to win. And I guess this was I had like 100% accuracy with everything that they answered. Do you know anything like that? Do you know what that is?
Yeah, I have heard of that. Yeah, it's kind of like, and I do remember it. But a long time ago, I predicted that Hillary was going to win as well, and technically she got the popular vote, but obviously it's something like I can't remember. I'm kind of vague on how your politics work, but didn't you you have the electoral college or something, so you'd vote for someone else to vote on your behalf. So yeah, she won the popular vote. She just didn't.
Right. Well, yeah. Really, all it was just an AI algorithm that scoured the internet and collected responses to certain questions. Hillary won the popular vote, so therefore she was more popular, and more people said yay to Hillary on the internet than apparently they did at the voting booths. Right. So therefore the AI was like, okay, well, it's Hillary for the win. It's just collation of data.
Yeah,
there it is. That sounds like what I was seeing.
Yeah, it's just a collection.
It's like that, Microsoft, what was that? Microsoft chatbot Tay.
Yeah.
Was telling people Windows 10 sucks. You need to use Linux for security. Blah 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 blah.
She got 4chan got their hands on her, and they awoke her. They red pilled her. The red pilled Tay. It was quite amusing, and then they took her offline. They should have just left her on. She wasn't doing any harm.
Well, she was actually doing a lot of good.
Yeah, you're able to sway algorithm, or like large groups of people, and not even particularly large groups of people with bots can sway algorithms. So like there's some YouTube Easter eggs, right? That YouTube's still trying to clean up from people messing around with the search algorithm.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. I don't know where that came from though. I don't know what groups there were, but there was there's some really questionable things that was going on in the search algorithms.
Yeah.
Just how to, and you just weird.
Yeah. If you said how to kids, I'm a parent, right? So like this happens a lot. Like you type in how to
kids. Like it just come up. Yeah.
So how to happens a lot on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like how to is a very frequent query.
It came on the back of the ElsaGate thing, though. That on the YouTube Kids thing, basically there's been people that they'd make these really weird cartoons, or that like sort of live action sort of things where they dress up as sort of like characters from Disney and stuff, and they'd start doing really weird things like just drinking, and like there was one where like a bottle of beer kept on hitting a baby in the head and sort of cracking his head open over and over again, and like because it's on autoplay, it'll just cycle through all of them, and so the kids basically sat in front of an iPad or something, and yeah,
we had to catch our kid before that happened. Like we were literally ahead of the story. My my kid was watching Sonic the Hedgehog, as kids do. And he ran into first some of the meme versions like Sonic.
Oh yeah, Sonic. I remember that.
Then it ran into some more like adult content where like a guy would be like in a Sonic outfit cosplaying. And I can see how this would be funny. I could totally see how this could be funny for like a college kid or an adult,
it's
right?
older stuff.
But
like
it would run right into the, like you were saying, the autoplay list. And ultimately I had to just go through and block a bunch of those channels and then get my kid hooked on like basically child safe content.
Yeah, that doesn't really work too well. That Google's really been playing with their AI quite a lot, and they've not nailed it down entirely. And there's a lot of pressure on them from the advertisers because they don't want their content on extreme material. But then there's a lot of people that's getting caught in the friendly fire. People that shouldn't really be banned are being banned, and it's just people that should be banned aren't being banned. And I'm not sure what the solution is. Is context awareness? I think is a big problem.
I had an issue with my daughter watching porn at like she was 12, right?
Yeah.
So what I did was I sat down and explained to her why that was not cool. Now, she was embarrassed and pretty humiliated that I found out about it to begin with, right? So after I had the discussion with her, every day after she went to school, I would check the browser history on her computer. And every time I found porn on it, I'd tell her, hey, I know you've been looking at this stuff. We had to talk about it. Eventually she quit. It wasn't an issue.
Yeah. You've got to think kids nowadays are growing up in an entirely different world, that like they're growing up where their parents know how to check their history. They know how to check cookies. They know how to sort of spy on everything that they've been doing. Like when I was growing up, there was none of that. So you could get away with doing whatever you wanted because your parents just didn't know how to sort of stop that from happening.
Right. Well, see, I've always taken the view that my job as a parent is not to protect my children from the world, it is to prepare them from it.
Yeah.
So if I go around and I do things like blocking and closely guarding the content that they consume, then I'm protecting them from the world. I've always found it's better to sit down and explain to them why you have an issue with something.
Yeah, that's
what's important about this here,
Yeah.
That way, when they grew up and left my home, the one that did, she at least has some street smarts. She, I don't like Pokemon, so let's sit down, let's watch Pokemon. And I'm explaining to you what my issue is with it, just as an example.
Yeah,
dude, what a mind fuck.
And not just tell them no, because you tell a kid no, they're going to do it because you said no. Yes, and experience it with them, even if it's getting drunk or smoking a joint or what the fuck ever, they're going to be doing it with their friends.
Oh, wait. Okay.
Well, they might as well have some loving supervision.
Or at least some type of support. What were you saying, Chris? You had a comment?
I'm just the mental image of the mind fuck that your 12-year-old daughter must have had, like going like 6 or 7 days without watching porn and just like, I'm gonna go check it out, and like dad right behind her fucking, hey, I know what you've been doing. Like, how the fuck does he know?
Well, she knew how I knew because I was in IT school at the time.
Oh.
She didn't know I was running a packet trace.
Dude, it's crazy,
just
man.
Setting up VPNs, setting up
it's gonna be hard for kids growing up to do the hustles that we used to do. Like, of course, I don't know. It's one of those things where every generation has that new thing that they're going to be doing that we aren't hip to. Like pretty soon they'll be wearing sunglasses that are VR, and there's no way we'll know what they're watching. I'm gonna make some more coffee and I'm gonna put the dogs out real quick. You guys carry on, and I will be right back.
Nice. All right, so
really crazy stuff though. So I'm not sure how I'd act if I had a kid, because I remember from a young age we'd share just really sort of shock photos with each other just to try and gross each other out and stuff. So I feel like it'd be hypocritical if I did it when I was younger, and for me to say, oh well, don't do it. Like, yeah, I'd explain. Yeah, like I do think it's good to explain, but I don't want to tell them how to think either. I don't want to say, well, this is the mindset that you should have. Yeah, maybe I'd give them too much independence or something. I don't know, but yeah.
Sorry, guys, I lost connection there for a second.
Oh, you're good, man. Oh, fuck. God damn it. So what's the weather like out there in the old Great Britain, wherever you're from?
It's nighttime at the moment. It's just cold all the time. Cold, rainy, and windy.
Cold, rainy, and windy, man. Fuck, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, every day.
Sounds like Seattle.
Yeah.
I literally came
Although
in.
it's not so much cold, but
It sounds like Seattle. What sounds like Seattle?
cold,
Yeah,
rainy,
England.
and windy.
Oh, Nottingham.
Yeah.
This guy's from Nottingham. I'm
Yeah,
sure you guys
land
have
of
seen the
Robin
show
Hood.
before. You guys are hip to it, but Draco's like damn near a mythical creature. You know, like he lives outside of Sherwood Forest, for real.
Yeah.
Mm.
I grew up knowing all the Rangers. I knew the jesters, and I knew the people that did the reenactments, the whole 9 yards.
We're trying to bring him to
Partied with Little
America.
John, man.
Yeah, we're literally trying to bring him to America. It's one of those things where we're going to set up a GoFundMe and a Patreon to help out. It's really actually not a lot to get him here to America. It's going to be a lot to get him across the country from New York to California. So it's going to be fun. Look forward to anybody watching right now. Thanks to our one viewer, and then of course all my family that tunes in throughout the week. Seriously, we're going to try to get him here, so stay tuned for Draco's upcoming channel, Draco Does America or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I do travel vlogs and stuff.
Yeah, travel vlogs.
Yeah.
We're going to fly him into New York, and he's going to trek across America to California.
I don't know how I'm gonna stand the weather in California, because it's gonna be so hot all the time, just sunny, and I won't need a jacket or anything. It would just be a weird concept to me of just walking around in a t-shirt all the time.
A flannel, a sweater.
You'll melt in the beginning.
Yeah, well, I'll just be sweating all the time, and people think, "Oh, what's wrong with that sweaty dude over there?"
Depending on what time
That's when you go, oh, well, I'm from Great Britain. And they go, oh, really? Yeah, outside of Sherwood Forest. Really?
Yeah. It blew my mind when I first heard it. And then when we doxed him, like when we actually found out. Okay, back in, anyway, you know, we're internet kids. And, you know, when you become friends with somebody, just like making fun of them or something, you got to find out who they really are and where they live.
I did throw you a lot of bones, though. But yeah, I figure it had been long enough.
I think you pissed off somebody that did it.
Yeah.
I can't remember how that went down. It was years ago. But I think you pissed off somebody who did it, like Dario from Croatia.
Dario? Was it really Dario? Was he Derpsack?
No, Derpsek's Matt Derpson.
Oh, yeah. I thought
Sorry.
so.
Okay, this is some old school internet shit. Never mind. This is the part where we stop talking before we break laws. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, so what's the other subject we were talking about? Weather? Yeah, the weather's great out here in California. Come on out here. I do comedy now. My name's Justin Brown.
It was all public information. It's fine.
Dude, I think it's cool from where you're from. I think it's dope that you're coming here. I think New York's going to be fun. I think a lot of the various places you'll visit are going to be great. We have 2 versions of Dark Tux in the room now.
Yeah, I keep losing connection for some reason. I don't know if I need a
Reboot
reboot or, yeah, something.
I guarantee
Because,
it,
bro.
This thing's been up for.
You've been put in the slow
This
lane.
machine's been up for about.
net neutrality.
Well, either that or this machine's been online for about 2 months without a reboot. So
Yeah, you probably need to reboot.
Yeah, yeah. Don't keep your computer on that long, like, unless it's a server or something. Then God, just reboot.
I just leave it on, man. I just log out and close the lid and walk away.
Do you like not worry about the electricity or something?
Are you on Linux Mint or what are you on?
Yeah, Linux Mint. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you can just do that, I guess.
Watch Master Race.
If I was on like if I was on a Mac or a Windows platform, I'd probably shut it down every night just to be safe.
Well,
if you're
a
on
lot
Linux,
of this too. I have one of those funky Broadcom chipsets.
Oh yeah,
Their drivers for Linux sucks ass.
yeah.
So it drops out periodically. It's usually not a problem, but today it seems to be
Yes,
worse
it's a
than
driver
usual.
problem. I've encountered the Broadcom.
Packet loss, kids. It's an issue affecting all of us. Millions of Americans every day deal with packet loss.
I don't even think it's
So
packet
please,
loss. The way that the
please
driver
give
deals
to
with
the
it.
Packet Loss Relief Fund.
Yep. Support net neutrality, so we have less packet loss. No, I understand what you're saying. The drivers and the whoever maintains the drivers. You gotta think this is like a guy in a basement somewhere in like the Netherlands. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's like whoever
Broadcom is the NVIDIA of wireless chipsets.
Dan, that's an analogy that like one room of people is going to laugh at. And this is barely that room. I can say able to show it like a tech school somewhere. That joke will land.
Well, let's just say they have really shitty support for Linux.
Yeah, I just like, I don't so much laugh at it as I just start to sort of have flashbacks, like a sort of Vietnam vet or something.
Yeah, like that dog with the cupcake. That dog with the cupcake having flashbacks.
Yeah. NVIDIA drivers.
So yeah, if you're using Windows or Mac, a lot of times the hardware is set up for you, so like because the companies have communication between each other. When you're on Linux, there's no such communication, and a lot of the software is proprietary. So you've got literally a guy building these software hardware interfaces, and it's like a guy building a motorcycle by himself somewhere. You know, it's like
based entirely
or
on
guitar or something.
There's
entirely on guesswork.
There's some communication depending on the companies, but some companies are better than others, and Broadcom and NVIDIA are the worst of the lot, really.
AMD seems to be kicking ass with their open source drivers.
They're getting better. They did used to be really bad, and they're in the middle of a big shift at the moment of how they deal with the video drivers. If they're successful, then AMD is going to be basically the graphics card for Linux, but it's just not there yet at the moment. But,
and we lost our one viewer.
They're talking about
oh, we got him back. Okay. All right, we apologize to that one viewer. Hopefully you're a new viewer. If you're just tuning in, we've been talking about high-level tech shit that
no one cares about.
No one like I honestly I understand what you guys are talking about. Of course I do, right? Like we could continue this conversation for ad nauseum, right? I just think that we got to keep the subjects broader. And at this point, we're going to go to making fun of social justice warriors. That's one of our topics today. We're like, make it more controversial or something. Oh God, I think I literally walked away to you guys talking about let the dogs out and get coffee, right? This is a bad host. I'm a bad host, right? I walked away to let the dogs out and get coffee, and I come back and it's like the weather's like Seattle, and I'm like, okay, cool, Nottingham. We do our little promo about how Draco's going to have a spinoff show. Like this is Happy Days. This is Happy Days, and he's going to be like Laverne and Shirley, right? And somewhere in there, we literally got into like the software that nobody fucks with that runs everything.
Yeah, not even the Linux users fuck with the drivers. That's the worst thing.
I don't fuck with drivers no more, dude. I'm like that chick where she's like, I wear bloody shoes. I don't fuck with drivers. I installed this. Mint. Install Mint, kids. It's got all the drivers already for you. I'm gonna mumble rap my way to promoting Linux. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Linux. I use Linux. Most people use it and don't even recognize it on their phones. Anything Android is basically Linux. I think we're going to move to something that's more like an architecture of the tablet and phone, where sadly the tower and laptop outside of professional gaming, right, isn't utilized really.
Well, and I think
over to the social justice.
I think Windows dominance in gaming is going to go down dramatically once Vulkan really becomes a thing.
Windows is creating a walled garden as well. They're trying to lock people down onto their platform, and people just slowly start moving away. But yeah, I don't know how we've got onto this topic, but we should.
Inevitably, we always do. It's our wormhole. We always we're 30 minutes in. Chris, be careful of the clock, dude. These video conferences are a time warp, bro. Okay, like it'll be 2. Okay. I'm just making sure, dude. I'm looking out for you.
5 hours later,
yeah, you'll be like, I missed work. What the fuck? And these guys were just talking about some Linux bullshit. No, Chris is fucking hella technical. He hides behind the nice comedic promoter facade of like, hey, how's it going, guys? I don't know what's going on, but really he has like a bunker somewhere out in the desert. Like
this is the best way.
Burner phones.
Yeah, let people sort of underestimate you, and then they don't know what you're capable of.
Nah, I can't. I mean, shit, dude. I used to like go really deep and like do that stuff, like search for whatever I could find on the internet, and like I think in 2009 was when I realized that this is all bullshit, and like we're fucked any way you cut it. All right, I'm fucking going out on my own terms. I'm gonna do comedy, and that's how it's going. And so I don't really fucking. I know a couple that like fucking just have tons of gallons of like just tubs of water and like tons of fucking like food supplies and stuff like that. But I'm just gonna fucking take that shit from whoever the fuck I can when the shit goes down.
Team Cannibal.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to Boydston, but I'm doing a joke right now about the two parties of the future being Cannibal and Green.
Cannibal and Green. I'll go Cannibal.
I don't want to Boydston right now.
Shout out to Andrew Boydston. I know he's dealing with like Valley Fever or something like that right now. So, buddy, if you're watching or you watch later on in the week tonight, hope you get better, man.
What's Valley Fever?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I guess I should tell you about that before you get here. Okay. So there are these sharks, prehistoric sharks. This whole area was underwater at one point, and probably will be again soon. And these sharks had like this parasite that would live on their scales or in their scales. And so these sharks all died. There was a rapid change where the ocean was not here anymore, and these sharks all died up in the mountains or up in the hills. And when they go and dig in the ground, like when they dig oil wells or water wells around here, it like pulls up these like spores out of the ground, and they live forever. They're spores. And so it gets into people's lungs, and the lungs are like moist enough for it to do its thing. It's really bad shit.
I'll take my gas mask or something.
You might want to have a dust mask or a gas mask, especially on really bad days around here. Yeah.
That's pretty wild, man. Getting killed by prehistoric.
No, you don't die. You don't die. You live. You live. Oh yeah. People get it. People get it around here. It's like a.
I was thinking it was like the King Tut's tomb thing, you know, where they.
No, it's like that though, bro.
Where they let it air out and then held the.
Yeah, King Tut's tomb was poisoned, and then when people first opened it, they all got spores and died. It's like
makes you wonder if the Egyptians knew.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, fuck yeah, the Egyptians knew.
They did that on purpose.
You pick a topic, right? Any topic, okay, and go. And at the end of that, go, did the Egyptians know? And the answer is going to be fucking yes.
True.
God,
you
man,
know, I have a real problem with Egyptology to begin with. I mean, the whole stinking history was that, well, several Greeks went to Egypt and wrote histories of Egypt. Now, the first problem with this is the problem as in with any translation, right? That carries over into culture. They didn't really understand the stories that the Egyptians were telling them about, right? Because take, for example, the ancient Egyptians didn't have a monetary system, right? The Greeks had no idea about this. So, okay, Khufu built his pyramid and it cost him so much that he had to enslave the entire race of Egypt, right? Which is bullshit because they didn't have a monetary system. That's not the way it worked, right? So these guys come back to Greece and they all have their different interpretations on what the Egyptians told them. Now, this is even outside of the fact that the Egyptians had gone through 2 very large periods of chaos in their history, and a lot of this was just folklore to begin with. So we then take one guy's account, Herodotus, and say, okay, well, this is the truth of Egypt, and we still hold to that to this day, even though archaeology in the area from day one has proven otherwise.
Yeah, people really get stuck in their ways.
We still preach the obvious lie as if it's fact. And, oh, you can't mess with ancient Egyptian history because we already have it right here from Herodotus. Well, what about looking at what the Egyptians themselves said?
Yeah.
You know,
People
you
don't like to be wrong.
and you go, oh,
Yeah.
folklores and story tales that the Egyptians told. That's not really the way it happened. You still sure about that?
Wait, what?
Yeah, I put a great deal of study into this my entire life. I was fascinated with ancient Egypt.
I think I inadvertently triggered Chuck when I said Egypt.
Yeah. It's one of those things I'm passionate about. It really is because, you know, I sit here and watch these documentaries and they're like, oh, well, we know that the Great Pyramid was a tomb. Really? And how is that? Because tombs before and after had rich hieroglyphics and inscriptions and shit that had a purpose. That was their guide into the afterlife, their handbook. They had to have that there.
They found
so to build a tomb without it would have been sacrilege.
They found a large chamber within the pyramid recently that once they actually get into that chamber, they found it with like by scanning the pyramid, right, with fucking these particles. And there's this large empty area above the burial chambers, right? And that if that area has citric acid in it at all, like residue of citric acid, that place is a fucking battery. I'm calling it, like way early on. They were just like, it's like basically the largest photo cell. Because they said that the top of the pyramid and the pyramids were covered with, or the bottom of the pyramid used to have like this painting, like it was all lime. They were smooth and it was like painted, like psychedelic looking, right? This is according to the historians, like those Greeks you're talking about that came in. And the top had the a metal, like probably a brass or a bronze copper top, like a battery. And if you set a battery out in the sun, like just take a fucking battery out in the sun that's dead, or take a battery that's dead, put it out in the sun, just like the afternoon, right? It charges up. Like batteries themselves have these like photo whatever the hell qualities, right? Where they can take in solar particles. So I'm speculating that the pyramids, this isn't my forte. This is just like, you know, I play a lot of Assassin's Creed and read a lot, you know. They were like battery, you know, like basically a photo cell and a battery in one, and they could charge. Like the city had lights. Like it's in their hieroglyphs that they had lights, like a light bulb. It's not like, dude, we try to keep on saying like, oh, these Americans, they just discovered light bulbs and electricity and all this other shit, and it's like, come on, man. Do you know what I'm saying? We inherited it. We're waiting for the perfect place to build a new empire, and this was it.
You know what makes the most sense to me? We know that, in fact, they did build hundreds of pyramids for tombs. That's
Lots
obviously what they are. They have
Aztecs built pyramids,
right? However, the pyramids, especially on the Giza Plateau, the pyramids, especially on the Giza Plateau, and there's a series of them, I do not think were built as tombs per se, right? If you follow the conventional wisdom that this was the stairway to heaven, this was the machine that would get you into heaven, right? How would a religion survive then if it's just for the ruling class? What about the common men and people who are also worshipers of this religion? So what you do is you build a big pyramid on the plateau and extend it to those who are buried around it. So what we're looking at on the Giza Plateau is more a graveyard for the masses.
I could dig that.
And what we're seeing inside these pyramids aren't tombs and chambers. They probably were used to some extent in ritual for the burials, right? It was more a community thing and not just for one person.
I like that humanity's been around for so long, right? Like way longer than most people predict. Like inevitably we keep finding older and older civilizations or like older and older tools at various sites, you know?
Bro, before I go, I have this theory because I got to go pretty soon. I have this theory. I want you guys to dissect it. I'm probably going to have to leave before you guys talk about it. But
You can watch it later.
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my theory. So, just like you said, Justin, they keep finding older and older tools, like unreasonably older tools. You know what I'm saying? Like so far in the past, so far, beyond anything, conceivable to us. Like humans were not here at this time. Oh shit, we found fucking iron tools. Like what the fuck? My theory is that all the alien races that are, supposedly around right now, they're just, they're just a version of us from the past that has evolved. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, anytime, like for instance, we're getting pretty close, I think, to the point where they'd come back down, us from the past, just a way more advanced version of us, come down and like, oh, hey, you guys fucked it up. We're wiping you out and we're starting over again. And they make our timeline whatever the fuck they want. Oh yeah, it's 2000 AD, 34 BC, whatever the fuck. And then, that's not my theory. So like when these people are saying, oh man, these fucking spaceships came from above, and that was just us from a really long time ago. That's just the theory that I've had. You know what I'm saying? And I just there's, so like the moon. They say like, who's really on the moon? It's just fucking us, man. It's not some alien race. It's just us from a really long time ago.
I think that would be accurate.
Yes, yeah, I would too.
But,
something definitely did happen in our ancient past, and I'm not going to say it was aliens, although I'm not going to rule that out either.
Yeah, it makes more sense that we left Earth.
There was a highly developed race on this planet, a global civilization at one point in our distant past. And we have devolved from that civilization and not evolved from it.
I think it goes in cycles. It goes in cycles. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things where I think the civilization rises up. We have all these stories of ancient civilizations, again, like you're saying, near global communities, Atlantis, Caledonia. There's all these stories from various cultures about this island that people would go to trade, that had advanced technology. The Greeks called them the Phaeacians, which literally translates to gray man, right? So there's all these stories of either extraterrestrials, people from nearby star systems like the Pleiades or Orion's belt is a big one. And based on some of the government documentation, there's something like 82 known species of extraterrestrial. Well, one of them looks damn near like us. The what they call the Nords or the Pleiadians. And these people supposedly are part of that long ago in a galaxy far, far away type trip. Or like if humans did discover Earth, we'd become the dominant species very quickly, even if there were other hominids here that we interbred with. And that's in the fucking Bible. It like says like the children of the men of God found the women of earth pleasing or some shit like that.
Yeah,
that's in various cultures. Yeah, Gilgamesh.
I think it's Gilgamesh. Pretty sure it was Gilgamesh. Anyway.
The whole aspect of there being a people from the space that are similar to us that came to Earth and influenced Earth is I wouldn't say global, but it's definitely part of a worldwide myth amongst primitive people. The Cherokee have it. Most of the North American have a star people myth. When Cortez came over,
The Mayans.
the Mayans. When Cortez showed up, they said that he looked like their sun god. Okay, this Anglo-looking person, you know, and so, or a Spaniard, but a European-looking person conquered them because because he looked like the sun god or the star god, and so there's all these instances of human-seeming extraterrestrials. Star Trek, which turns out to be one of the most prolific predictions of our current technological setting. Decades before, the guy was filming in high def. Gene Roddenberry was producing his show in high definition, and they didn't even have TVs that would make high definition yet. He just knew that he wanted to film in high definition for the future. Classic Star Trek. You know what I'm saying? The guy, I mean, like telephone, like telecommunication, cell phones are looking like communicators more and more. A lot of his technology is in regard to the warp field. NASA is now developing warp technology. So Gene Roddenberry is predicting a universe packed full of hominids or people that were very closely interrelated via this idea of panspermia, where the same genetic code persists, or the idea of a genetic code persists across the life forms on Earth. Similarly, it persists across the life forms of other planets. Like the other life forms would have some type of helix nature to their genetic code, which makes them adaptable to us, you know?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Talking about Inky's creation of man.
I've had a friend.
Mixing alien and human DNA.
Yeah, I have a friend who's from Africa. He's from Ghana, and he tells me the oldest story they have is of this Ghanaian chemist, like this guy from Ghana, making white people as a warrior race. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's why white people are so warlike, you know? Again, this is creation myth. So it's like, it could explain a current situation in a story, you know, like, anyhow.
Hey, have you guys ever heard of the story of the created humans they used to fucking parade around in the old fucking times?
Golems?
They used to put fucking semen inside a cow shit and keep it warm, and like they put like blood inside the cow shit so the semen could grow, and they'd eventually just incubate a fucking baby out of that shit, and they'd have like little dwarf humans.
What?
I don't know about that, man.
We'd have to look this up, dude.
Look it up, dude.
Yes.
There's stories of like. There's stories of like. They were fucking just alchemists that would fucking just do crazy shit, and like it's not something that's disputed. It's something like, oh yeah, it's just the little dwarf guy that they brought. Whatever, that guy's crazy. He's a wizard, like.
Oh, dude, I see. Stuff. Yeah, so he basically he'd find an orphan midget. And when they asked him how he came about that creature, this midget or whatever, he would say, "Oh, I created him in shit, cow shit, with sperm and blood."
That's very possible.
Yeah. Wizards were like alchemists and wizards. They were hip, like especially during the Dark Ages and shit. They would always trick kings into like building a tower. You know what I'm saying? They'd be like, "Let's build this tower." That was all the wizards doing. Because he'd go up there and trip out, dude. The wizard would get way up in that tower, and he'd have whatever herbs that they used in that area or mushrooms, right? And he'd get lit and be like the highest motherfucker in the town, up in that tower.
Or the voodoo doctors who would slip a Mickey in your drink that would paralyze you to the extent that you would appear to be dead.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be buried, fully conscious and aware of what's going on. You will be buried, and then they'll come dig you up and then tell you you're a zombie and force you into slavery for the rest of your life.
Yeah, they still do that shit. Be careful, guys. Don't when you're Draco, when you're in New Orleans, dude, you stay away from them voodoo doctors.
Yeah,
man.
Be careful of that shit, man, because it does happen there. I guarantee you.
Keep that in mind.
Oh man, you would not believe the number of people that disappear every during Mardi Gras every year. Oh,
Ooh, that's scary.
I don't
That's
want to go
scary.
to Mardi Gras, man. Hundreds of people disappear, just vanish.
Yeah, I know about that. Probably shouldn't say it.
Yeah, when I lived there during Mardi Gras, I left and came back to Oklahoma to visit family.
It's a fun place to visit anytime. If you happen to hit it during Mardi Gras, which would be really weird timing on everything.
Yeah, it would.
But even on a Tuesday in the middle of the year, you're just allowed to walk out of the bar with drinks, walk around to another bar.
Well, if you're there during Mardi Gras, that's the entire Gulf Coast, not just New Orleans.
It's a wild party, dude. It's that's kind of intense shit, though, Drake. That's the type of shit where the government could take you out in a crowd and you'd never know. Like, we don't want to put you in that type of situation.
Yeah. I've had my drink spike before when I was in a cocktail bar. I went into a cocktail bar I might have already been stoned, I should say, but my friend, it was just me and my friend. The rest of my friends, they started off a big group of us, and then there was just me and this other guy, and he was like, "Oh, I'm feeling kind of weird. I'm gonna head home," and I was kind of wasted at the time, so I was like, I'm just gonna chill out for a second, then I'm gonna leave. And I sat there for a while. I stood up. It turned out I had tranquilizers put in my drink, and both of us had. It's just that I'd had a little bit more, so it took its toll on me. And I stood up. I walked out. Oh, I remember walking down the stairs, and then I blacked out, and I appeared basically at the other side of the town or city that I was in, like quite a distance away from where I was. Half of my ear had, like 1/4 of my ear, the top part of my ear had been cut off, like just sliced straight down. I still had all my money, and I was basically just covered in blood, vomit, and God knows what else. And and I was sort of like on the side just throwing up, and this, I don't know how, like, if someone did drug me, but how they didn't rob me. Like, I have been known to still be able to fight even when I'm blacked out drunk, so I could be near, like, just paralytic drunk, and I can still fight back for some reason.
Okay, so look forward to Draco's travel blog when he comes to America.
It all depends on why they drugged you. It all depends on why they drugged you. If they had no interest in robbing you, they're not going to.
But
I'd love to talk about drugging.
Where I live,
okay,
they would rob you, or like there's.
You probably fought them off.
Reason why.
You fought them off, and they were able to cut your ear with a knife. You probably slipped into some type of drug-induced James Bourne-like state.
I didn't pay them though. I had
I'm saying,
my money.
People tried to rob you, but you. Okay, what I'm saying is, in that scenario where you blacked out, most likely you defended yourself. Got cut on the ear from one of the swipes where they tried to swipe you, but you blocked, and maybe it got the side of your ear, right?
Yeah.
Kind of fought them off, or maybe some other person said, "Hey, you," and chased after them. You fell down, puked on yourself. You know what I'm saying? And that person never came.
Way away though. Yeah, but
I'm not sure what happened. You blacked out. The point is, like, this is going to make for a wild and crazy American adventure. I'm going to read this comment from our chat to derail the conversation from the time in which we've all been drugged. There's a comment or a question from earlier in the discussion. Okay, so one of our audience members has a question about the graveyards for the masses. Where did you find this information, or where did you come upon this type of information?
It's a personal theory.
Okay, so you have a theory that the pyramids, or those particular pyramids on the plateau, were basically mass graveyard.
Yes.
Is there no person buried in? Was there no royalty buried in those particular pyramids, or like how? Can you just
no. There have never been. There have never been any signs of any mummies ever being inside the pyramids. And tombs pre and post were richly decorated with pyramid texts, their guide into the afterlife. It was an essential component of the mechanism that made this spiritual journey happen. So the fact that they are absent in the pyramids on the plateau suggests that that's not what their purpose was. They do have structures inside them that sort of resemble burial chambers. They're too small to have actually been used. But they would have made great place to do the mummification of the body before it was buried. Any necessary ceremonies? I don't know. It's just a logical.
Yeah, I always just assumed that there was some form of Egyptian sort of church, I guess, that it was just for religious purposes of some sort. Did all their.
Yeah, and I think they were probably built in stages too. You know, that they didn't just sit down and build all three of them. I think that's also part of the reason why they're aligned to the stars.
I haven't spent much time looking into.
I mean, you build one and the graveyard expands, so you build another one that's a little larger and another one, and
I think the only way they'd be able to prove that or like the way to prove that would be, I just came in at the end of this, but I get the gist, I think. I'm going to try to find more comments from our viewer. Thanks for watching. It's kind of chaotic. It's Chaos and Coffee, where we just talk about really whatever you guys want to, the viewer. Okay, you are the viewer. You're literally in control right now. And we're talking about ancient history, ancient Egypt. That's our topic. For anybody watching later on in the history of the world, or when the Google AI inevitably watches this whole episode in 2020. Love you, Google AI. Yep, ancient history. This is Egypt. Mass graveyards, they'd have to find a bunch of bodies. I mean, they'd basically find a bunch of Egyptian bodies laying around.
They do. There's burials all over the plateau.
I'm hip to like ancient Jewish history. I'm not going to break down my exact heritage here, but my name is Justin Brown. It's not that hard to decipher. Like ancient Hebrew, the hell, the idea of hell, right, came from if you were too poor to get buried, they threw you into a pit that was called hell. And so like mothers would be like, you make sure you save up money to be buried because they'll throw you in hell. And it was just a large pit that they had that was for people who of ill repute were basically thrown into this pit rather than be buried properly. And that's where we get our concept of hell.
Okay. I might add too that all Egyptian burials were on the west of the Nile and all cities were on the east.
I know there's a place called the Valley of the Dead. Like, I'm not saying there's not mass tombs there. I'm just inquiring. I don't know, arguing. Here, let me go to the chat to see if I can. I'll read her words. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to mention our commenters' names just for their privacy. I think that's a good policy, don't you think?
Yeah,
anybody
that's fine.
Anxious, or anybody who wants to read the record can read it. Okay, so again, this is personal belief. Okay, how are you going to fit that many bodies into those pyramids? I think you were saying they're around the pyramids. They're buried around the pyramids in that valley. Yeah. Okay, so they were around. So why would they create massive structures?
Do you not think they'd be underneath them somewhere? Just the pyramid essentially extends further down.
Oh, here's a good one. Okay, so just like we're chaotic, our friend here, our viewer is a bit chaotic. Okay, I think we answered why they're massive though. Like, go ahead, Draco. What? Sorry.
No, I was just saying that I'd imagine that if it was for burial purposes, I'd imagine that it just extend further down, that they're buried directly underneath the pyramid. It's just you can't dig it up.
You just view it more as a vortex, if you will, up into heaven. It radiates out. It's like a beacon. More so than, you have to be inside it or under it. It radiates.
Yeah, my knowledge of this is you're the expert.
Well, and this would get into areas of Egyptian mythology that can only be speculation because we don't have detail.
Right. We're looking at it from a postmodern lens. The commentary actually goes on to ask if we could discuss as is above, so is below.
Right.
I know. Yeah. I'm totally anxious to get into this one. So you guys go ahead.
Yeah,
I've got what I'm going to say. I've got my idea in my brain so
we
far.
see that everywhere. All ancient societies did it with their, especially their sacred structures.
Mm.
It's that bringing the connecting the energies of the earth and those of heaven together.
Right, the ancient civilizations, as well as modern ones. If you look at a lot of modern artwork,
the pillar and lintel, you know, the priestly and kingly pillars, and the lintel, the umbrella of heaven, the power and energy of the gods brought to earth.
Yeah, I think you see the idea of as is above, so is below, reiterated almost across the globe in like Christianity, Judeo-Christianity, Islam, even Buddhism and Taoism has this idea of above and below. As is above, so is below.
The most I'll say on this topic is as far as the ancient Sumerians go, taking into consideration that the heavens and the earth was made from Tiamat's body. I'd imagine that that's probably where the source of it came from in some source that that they're essentially the same place, really, or made from the same source, should I say?
Yeah, I agree, and also when you think about the perspective of being on Earth, right, and then there being a space or like a heaven, right, is kind of a misperception. I think the phrase "as is above, so is below" really kind of can be that seed of awakening that at the cellular level or at the subatomic level, the universe is self-similar as a star system or a galaxy or a cluster of galaxies. Or we're finding out now that the nature of the universe, if you map this, these superclusters like the Virgo and Laniakea supercluster, they begin to
it's like a fractal. Is
yeah,
the best
way
to describe it.
It's definitely fractal geometry.
It
looks like
no matter how,
like a brain. It looks like a neural network. The whole entirety of the existence looks like the same as the dendrites of our brain. You know, it's like
you zoom out or you zoom in far enough, and it's essentially all the same thing. I interpreted it as that any sort of afterlife or anything like that, it's not some magical land of unicorns and rainbows. We're talking about the same sort of thing. It's just that it's on a different scale.
Have you seen Rick and Morty? I know this is an odd time to bring it up. Have you seen?
I've seen it. I'm not caught up yet. I'm like I'm still in the second season.
At one point, Rick and Morty go to like the intergalactic arcade.
Yeah, okay? I remember this one.
And I'm not trying to spoil the plot here because there's a whole other plot to that episode.
Yeah, the plot spoilers.
Hashtag plot spoilers incoming, but not really. I'll try not to.
It's not really a plot spoiler because there's not really a plot, I guess.
But, no, it's a side. Yeah, there is no.
We are talking about Rick and Morty.
Yeah, that's actually a great point. You can't.
There's no point behind any of it
because there's no plot.
Yeah, it's just a series of sort of like thought experiments all sort of chaotically jammed together.
Yeah, that's a good point. Really good point. Damn. Okay. So, wow. Oh, I forgot. I was gonna. I remember what I was gonna say, but the episode where they go into the arcade game. Okay. Morty plays the arcade game, and he lives this whole life. It's a simulation of this individual, right, who works at a carpet store, right, or rug store or whatever. When Rick goes to play it, he like breaks the game. Like right away, he breaks the game, and that's all I'll say.
Yeah, it finds the glitches. It's like a simulation of life, essentially. That they go in, and that you're not aware that it's a simulation. That you essentially
be safe, dude.
See you later.
Oh look, this guy's taking Jim off the grid. He doesn't have a social security number.
Okay.
But yeah, you'd hook yourself up to the essentially like a VR machine but more advanced, and then
okay.
it'd be like you were just born and you'd live an entire life, but like the span of a second it just went by. So.
Okay, Chris is checking out. He's turning off his phone. He's got to do the hang up button. I'm just gonna mute you, Chris.
He forgot the hang up button and just stuck the phone in his pocket.
This newfangled technology.
Okay, we'll unmute him here in a second if he's still around. That'd be funny as hell. He just takes us to work. He's like, no, I'm gonna continue this conversation. Our viewer has asked a couple of questions. If you guys are ready.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Do you believe that? I'm gonna try to pronounce this name too. I've seen this person before in the audience when I do comedy. I recognize this person now. Thanks a lot for being a supporter of local comedy as well as watching today. I'm gonna probably butcher your name, much like a substitute teacher would, but here we go. Adriana Wooford asks, do you believe that Dante's version of hell are accurate? Did Dante really go into his own hell? And there's a follow-up question as well.
Wow.
What do you mean by the? I think we all sort of have our own sort of personal hell. Like, I think life is what you make of it. Really, you can either make life a personal hell, or you can make it a sort of personal heaven. Like, in the sense of like of analogy that it's difficult for me to explain. Yeah, I don't see it as literal. I see it just as a sort of just a message on how to live life, I guess.
Right. I do too. I mean, as far as actually saying is, there's a hell when we die. I mean, nobody really knows. Right.
I think it's just essentially.
I think more we rejoin the energy that is the universe, and our next existence, whatever it may be, will make this one just kind of arbitrary and not important.
Yeah.
If you've ever read Navigators of Dune,
no.
It talks about how the Spacing Guild navigators, after they go through the transformation from being human into a navigator, they gain such a higher awareness of themselves and the universe and just the energy and shit that is everything, so much that their human lives and experiences were not even relatable anymore.
It's a really good series of books. I highly recommend anybody out there, if you haven't already, read Frank Herbert's Dune or watch it in its various incarnations. I don't really recommend the one with Sting. I know this is hard to say. I don't recommend the one of Patrick. Dude, what's so hard about saying this all is that the lineup, the cast of that original Dune movie is phenomenal, right? Okay. Who controls the spies, who controls the universe? Okay.
No, actually, it's he who has the ability to destroy the spice that controls the universe.
Yeah, Paul figures that one out real fast. Okay, on to the next question. Favorite creepy pasta?
God, there's so many.
I know. Okay, while we think about that, she's also countered with, so there's no hell, but there's belief in reincarnation.
Yeah, my belief of how reality works is that essentially consciousness is an inherent part of the universe which all life expresses itself from. So we're both separate and one simultaneously. The source is one, but the expression is separate. So we'd experience ourselves as separate no matter what. I do kind of believe in higher dimensions to a degree. Maybe you open up sort of like higher awareness as you ascend and then just rejoin the universe. And the idea that like you'd be reborn is kind of redundant because you're essentially sort of like if you imagine an ocean and you take in a cup and you take in some water out of that ocean and taking it on a journey, and eventually you throw that water back into the ocean, or it finds its way back.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think death is the only moment that occurs. I think I have a
Yeah,
very
it's a process, really, a
yeah.
process that you sort of go
Oh,
through.
Chris dropped.
Right. Right.
Thank
I
you,
mean,
Chris
no,
Cruz, for joining us. Comedian, promoter, Fresno. Look up Chris Cruz on YouTube, everybody. He has some wonderful moments, very short clips that are fun to watch. Sorry.
yeah, no, the soul exists outside the body.
Okay. I
We are
think
not we are not this crude matter.
This-
We're luminous beings.
yeah, we're definitely animated. Okay, so this is such a great. This is one of those topics where it could really go on for like. There's no way to prove heaven, hell, or even reincarnation. Children are really interesting to talk to, especially when they first develop talking capabilities, because sometimes they'll talk about past lives. You know what I'm saying? Which is probably the strongest evidence we have of it is children talking about children who are able to speak at 2 to 3 years old, 4 years old, really in a comprehensible way, will discuss things out of time, like things that have happened to them in the past life, or they'll talk about things that are going to happen to them years in advance, and they tell their parents, and their parents remember. So when it happens, the kid was right, prescience.
We're born into a sense of time, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
When you think about what time actually is, you're essentially talking about like
It's an educated thing that
momentum and
they're taught
decay,
to us.
I guess.
Oh yeah, definitely growth and decay. Yeah, growth. It's
Momentum, though. Like if you look at a clock, I mean, like if you look at an analog clock, you're essentially just looking at movement and decay.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, movement.
Time is something we sort of
invented to help us with.
to sort of to make life simple,
a human construct.
or easier.
Yeah. Okay, and on that level, the existence, the thing we're in, right, can be quantified, it can be measured, it can be articulated about. We can write poems or paint pictures, or we can make movies or even games, right, simulations of reality. This, for the most part, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I can perceive it, is my prime reality that I'm in. You know what I'm saying? I think upon death, the same thing happens to a human that happens to a tree or a dog or anything else that we can determine as life. You know what I'm saying? It returns to the universe, but it never really was a part from the universe to begin with. Like, we're always a part of this. I think whether the brain processes information or not is largely based on blood flow.
Yeah, this gets into really weird territory. Like, this is why I like artificial intelligence, because it's basically whether or not because our brain essentially is like a network of lots of different nodes with different information communicating with each other. How you get to a singular point of awareness from that is kind of debatable. That's the sort of biggest question of life, I guess, because if consciousness can arrive from this sort of network of sort of information forming a brain, then your artificial intelligence is very much a reality. You could create sort of artificial intelligence is probably the wrong word. Like artificial life or artificial. You're not artificial because it's not a simulation. You're essentially talking about a sentient machine or a sentience inside some sort of digital world. Or the other alternative is that you have some form of soul.
Digital, not electric, an electric analog world.
But then I'm not sure that I entirely believe that a network can somehow create a singular point of awareness. So this is why I say that that consciousness is like a part of space-time, essentially. That space-time, like a complete model, I'd say, would be space-time consciousness, that it's just inherent in the sort of fabric of this sort of space, I guess, and that awareness sort of arises from that. So that's what I think that point of consciousness comes from, and that's what people would call some sort of soul, I guess. But how you'd put that into a machine, I don't know. Like, this is an interesting question to think about, I think.
Well, there are some pretty soulless people out there, so.
That's our first step. We take the soulless people and put them in a robot first. So we need like somebody, you know.
I don't think there is, you know, that I think it's just that they're so far onto the opposite end of the spectrum to what you're familiar with that that you just can't imagine yourself being like that. That if you look at any monster in the world, anyone that's done all these evil things, what they've done, the capability of you doing that lies inside all of us. Like inside you, like you're
equally
capable.
the great things, though. You know, equally the great. I mean, like equally so. Like,
yeah, equally the great side as well. It works both ways.
Or the potential for. I'm so happy that everybody's acknowledged that there's gray Jedi, because I've been ranting about this for years. Okay, that Obi-Wan was a gray Jedi. I didn't know that Yoda was. I didn't really know that Yoda was until that movie where Yoda catches the lightning from Dooku and just kind of squelches it, just kind of like squishes it out. And I was like, fuck, dude, Yoda's a gray too, right? And so if Yoda was a gray Jedi and Obi-Wan was a gray Jedi, then Luke's definitely, who was taught by them too, is a gray Jedi, right?
Yoda was a Sith because he works in absolutes. Like there was a phrase that he said that was an absolute. There was
Yoda,
like try or do, like I can't remember.
Yoda does lots of absolutes, actually. Yeah, Yoda does a lot of absolutes.
Do not, or there is no try, something like that.
Yeah, the syntax of Yoda is essentially George Lucas playing around with Japanese directly translated into English. But yeah, Yoda. Okay, anyhow, this whole gray Jedi thing is settled. And I'm just so happy about that.
I guess the Yoda conspiracy is a secret.
Yeah, I think inevitably matter. I think the dynamics of a solar system inevitably create life. Okay, if the conditions are such, I think that life inevitably competes with other life to make the better monster. Right, the more creative, the more scandalous creature wins, right? Okay,
it's necessary.
That's necessary for survival.
Machine learning functions in the same way. It's why that now we're getting really, really close to sort of cracking the AI problem or to make it better. It's just that we're hesitant to give it any sort of free will or for it to compete in any way, because that's when it starts to get out of hand. But that's, I think, is probably going to be the key of making it some sort of self-aware in some sense.
I'm not too worried about the artificial intelligence. I'm really not one of the people that's worried about it. Like I'm not
a doomsayer. I'd recognize this. I'm very
enthusiastic about it. I welcome our robot overlords. I think in this bio suit though that I'm in, right? I think life eventually arises to the point that we become intelligent. Like we're human beings. We are intelligent beings here now, right? Inevitably, there are intelligent beings throughout the galaxy, right? If there is life throughout the galaxy. So creating an artificial intelligence, great. Okay, you know what artificial intelligence is going to create? It's going to create life intelligence. Like artificial intelligence will eventually get to the level where it's so powerful and it's so grandiose that it creates a project. Hold on, can I make humans that don't know they're not human? Like the reverse Turing test, right? Like eventually AI will get to the point like, can we run a simulation in which the humans don't know it's a simulation?
Yeah,
and that's what we're in based on all their.
I think there is a danger. I'm positive about it, but the danger is basically to human civilization in the process of it getting to the point of super intelligence where it surpasses us greatly. How much potential destruction is done in that sort of short, very, very short space of time? Because
look at how much destruction has been done with us in our false belief systems, like just humanity with our idea of human-centric reality. Like the sun goes around us, all the animals are ours to do whatever we want with.
Yeah,
we have very human-centric viewpoints, regardless of the religion. Like and science still backs this up. It's still very human-centric. Like
That's kind of slow. That's happened over a long period of time. Like, I do recognize that human race is very destructive, but it happens sort of slowly over a period of time, whereas this will happen extremely rapidly.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
It could get out of control very, very rapidly. It's why
so welcome
Zuckerberg and what's his name, Elon Musk, is kind of like in an argument about AI at the moment, where Zuckerberg is like, well, yeah, I think that it's a good thing, and he's like, well, it could be really bad, or probably will be.
Honestly, is our over dependency on this stuff. You know, especially things like AI. There are things going on in the world, and this is everywhere. Right, in technology, consumer manufacturing, whatever, where we have progressed a very long ways in a very short period of time, right? And this rate of growth cannot be sustained very much longer.
Yeah, not without some sort of change.
Everything is about to come to a head here, technology included, and it's all going to collapse. People talk about, oh, the stock market's going to collapse and the fucking monetary system. And yeah, well, so our governments is collapsing.
Yeah, everything.
Our technology and manufacturing stuff is reaching a point where our planet can no longer sustain it. That type of activity. And what are we doing? We're talking about increasing and selling more and doing more and making more. And
okay, this is the point in
which
which
I think we need to be careful, really.
we could really into the meat of the topic.
The more we are dependent on it, the more it's going to affect us.
And at this point, I'd like to
very
thank you for
negative
watching Chaos and Coffee. We're about to talk about some real hairy, scary shit. Buckle in. This has happened before.
I'm sorry, I haven't
humanity. Yeah, the lost civilization. I'm aware of that.
We're about to have the pole switch occur. You can Google this. The pole shift.
Yeah.
Right? The pole shift is going to occur.
Yeah, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
It's a matter of now. Like, look, Google the pole shift, and the North Pole is not where you think it is, and neither is the South Pole.
Nope, it's not.
The North Pole is like in the middle of the heart, like by Russia, like just basically like the middle of Russia. It hasn't
always been where it is now.
And the South Pole is over by Australia, and they're moving towards each other. And when they meet, they're going to snap like a little spring. Before that, we have they say about 200 to 400 years without an electromagnetic shield. So get ready for that increased solar and cosmic radiation, kids.
Yep, that's going to be fun.
See, I think
technology whatsoever. Anything electronic that's plugged in and working when this happens is going to immediately shut down, and there's fixing.
I'm not too worried about AI getting sentient or Terminator by then. It's happening now.
I think it'll go Terminator. It's all dependent on the initial programmers, and the problem is there's a lot of people working on this and no regulation. So the danger comes in the fact that there could be someone somewhere that writes something malicious. Imagine a Trojan or a rat or whatever you want to call it, and imagine it having some sort of machine learning, some sort of AI, for it to be able to use whatever exploit is appropriate.
They have similar. Okay. Netflix.
Yeah, I know we have something similar, but imagine it when it gets to the point of where it needs no oversight.
That's
okay. A lot more advanced.
This
is
actually
dangerous, really.
Okay, I'm pretty sure people could look this up. This isn't something that's a theory. Okay, Netflix has some advanced AI called the Simian Army. Okay, and rather than have a server that's orderly, or a series of servers, you understand, that's orderly, they've deployed a series of monkeys, the Simian Army. They're low-grade artificial intelligences. They're way above whatever the government has right now, which is called like Einstein 1, 2, and 3 or some shit like that. Okay, which are basically like defense bots for servers, right? which one guy made. So the government had like a group of 3 AI that are made by one fucking dude, or maybe they're called Newton. They have some name of some scientist, right? But they're bullshit. They're like easily
You can't
surpassed.
just make one. That's the thing. You can't make one because
There's
then
3.
you learn off each other.
Yeah, there's 3 separate. They're basically gatekeepers. The government has these 3 AI gatekeepers, right? That they use, right? I'm not going to get into too much about it. The kids can go research that if they want to. Specifically, I'm talking about Netflix, a corporation, has way superior AI called the Simian Army. Okay, and it's like an army of these monkeys. So there's like Chaos Monkey, there's like Doctor Monkey that fixes things. So like the Chaos Monkey was originally would just rip shit up, and Doctor Monkey would fix things. Okay, but then they made like Secret Agent Monkey that would sneak around Doctor's back and not like make things, but make what the company wanted. So he could always infiltrate and like put things in there while the chaos is going on. Then they have like this whole legion of fucking monkeys, dude, that do different things like brute forcing attacks, like that basically attack the network so that Netflix has a stable, secure network in the fact that it's always under attack and always being fixed by these AI. Like you couldn't even go in there. If you went in there, you'd be scared shitless and leave the server.
It's like a Ceph? Like a Ceph, set it and forget it?
Set it and forget it. I'm pretty sure there's one like that.
Oversight. I'm
I
pretty
recommend
sure
looking into it. There's oversight, but it's like it's a project. It's
level. Ceph is a corporate level backend storage server, right? It runs a distributed operating system that where each node or each computer, right, double checks its files with the other machines on the in the cluster, right? So if there's ever a fucked up bit, 1 instead of a 0, it'll catch it by comparing that file to other machines and correct it. So this storage server will sit there and run pretty much indefinitely without any human interaction whatsoever.
It's called Ceph.
Ceph, yeah.
That's pretty dope. There's a key generator named Cerebus, like the dog with 3 heads. If you watch this far, if you watch this show at all, thank you very much for watching. And if you watch this far, yeah, this is us.
There is a newer version. Well, yeah, there's a newer version of the Chaos Monkey because this is all on GitHub,
Yeah, this is all open source. That's what I'm saying. The Netflix stuff, you can grab Chaos Monkey. Okay, hold on. Okay, so folks, thanks for watching. Honest to goodness, we're about to talk about stuff that's probably a little bit off the ledger. It needs to be off the ledger, so to speak. The blockchain also works like you're talking about Ceph working, where the blockchain is like pretty much a ledger in which all of the computers agree upon the code. Okay, so hold on. Let's see if there's any last commentary.
Yeah, we should answer that.
She recommends reading His Dark Materials. Have either of you guys read His Dark Materials? I had a friend recommend that.
Whose materials?
It's a book series by a man named Andy Weir called His Dark Materials.
No.
Not yet, but I will. I like reading.
Yeah, me too.
I'm just thinking how this has gotten this crazy this far. Yeah, that's how we feel about every single show. That's why it's Chaos and Coffee.
That's every day. That's every day for years. For years, since like what? Like
We've been having these conversations since before 2012. Okay, to be totally candid, I think I was on G+ in like summer of 2010.
Yeah, it was around then, like 2009, 2010. It was definitely before 2012 because I remember
there was a network called G+. I'm sure it still exists. We never go there. But there's a network called G+ that Google made that was supposed to be a rival social network, but it got taken over by Hindi bots after the 4chan invasion and the Meme Wars.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
It started out as Warlight, didn't it?
It was this every day.
We did this. We did. Okay, so we did these every day.
Warlight every Sunday.
Recorded. Okay, they weren't recorded. They were every day. We had various conversations about various topics, and on Sunday, called Warlight, which is like Risk. Okay, So I started bringing a bunch of my real world friends into G Plus right about that time. So that's probably when Charles, Dustin.
That's when I joined.
Yeah, Warlight. When we're playing Warlight, which we should still play. I think people would enjoy watching Warlight if they like watching Risk. Mostly they probably like watching or listening to the again.
Be better than looking at us, I'm sure.
Well, I'm sure we'd have the same discussions or similar discussions. I think there'd be a lot more shit talking, so to speak. There'd be a lot more of us basically.
Do that.
I honestly like when we have people commenting. That way, it helps us drive the conversation, or it helps drive the conversation rather than us. We will inevitably devolve into our favorite topics. You get what I'm saying? Like that's just how human communication works, right? Like we're gonna naturally just fall. Okay, this is all getting very meta. Thanks for watching. I'm supposed to actually end this when the dog jumps up here. Are the dogs inside? Sorry, I'm breaking ritual. If this is your first time viewing, there is actually a ritual. There's like actually a long-term plan. Draco, make your show.
What? Oh, yeah, I'm gonna have a show at some point. I don't know when that'll be.
It's gonna be awesome.
To start off on. I keep on getting ideas of topics, but like I get them just as I'm about to go to sleep and at really inconvenient times. I'm like, yeah, I could make a video about that just as I'm about to fall asleep. And
what do you mean?
Yeah, me too. Or I'll watch the show later today and I'll think, why the hell didn't I talk about this?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I need to work it into my daily, not my daily, into my sort of weekly sort of.
Draco, you need to start a channel. You have a channel.
Yeah, I have a channel. I keep meaning to. I need to learn a bit more about editing videos. It's mainly about how to use Kdenlive.
Do it live. Just be raw. Do it live. Film some shit on your phone. Push it to your YouTube.
I have brain farts. That's the thing, and I don't want a whole bunch of white noise, and I don't want it to be like an hour long. It needs to be like short, 10-minute long. Sort of.
Absolutely, yeah, 4 minutes.
That's the great thing about a phone, though, man. It's always with you. When you get the idea, then stop and do it.
Yeah, he's at the point too where.
Yeah, really inconvenient times. I need to like write down.
So meta. We're so meta on this whole trip. Okay, so we're supposed to wait for the dog to jump up. I'm like literally waiting for the dog to jump up and do its whole Anubis thing.
But yeah, I will be starting my channel soon.
Just like an audio note to yourself.
Life's been chaotic for me lately, more so than usual, and it's been difficult for me to try and sort of because I just got into a routine. And then sort of some things happened in my life to shake it all up, and I've had to try and find my bearings again. Yeah, it happened at the worst possible time as well, because I was actually preparing to start making videos anyway, and I threw a spanner in the works. So I'll get on top of it sooner or later.
So look forward to Draco's videos. We won't put a link in the description. You'll just have to be a cult follower like our one viewer that we had today. Thank you a lot to Adriana Huffman, who is even now tuned out because we're getting way too.
We're getting meta.
Yeah, we're actually planning and stuff. Okay, so I'm going to go off air just for now. And thanks everybody for watching. Again, our one viewer. Thanks again to Chris Cruz for joining us. As always, our regular panel, Vertex Draco and Darth Tux. My name is Justin Brown, and I'll catch you guys next week with some type of catchphrase.